Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. It's in the description below. It's your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any Watchbox platform. Reach out to me directly, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. Today, we're discussing the Omega Seamaster Planet Ocean America's Cup Emirates Team New Zealand, a 2020 model year limited edition of 2021 pieces in honor of the defending champion at the 36th America's Cup to be held in 2021. Now, the watch is 43.5 millimeters in stainless steel by 16.3 millimeters thick by 49 millimeters lug-to-lug with a 21 millimeter spacing between the lugs. Pop open the clasp, throw it on my 16 centimeter circumference wrist. It's comfortable, it's thick. There's no question about that. It's not going to slip underneath the cuff, but because it is relatively short from lug-to-lug for a near 44 millimeter watch, I can still recommend this watch for a wrist as small as 14 centimeters. It really is quite short across the wrist, meaning you'll have no trouble wearing it even if you are slight of forearm. The strap is impressive. It's substantial, it's colorful, and it's paired to a wonderful clasp. As you can see, there is a textile pattern on the top, which properly speaking is molded rubber. Then there's a contrast between the blue of the top, the red of the bottom, and the white of the contrasting stitch. As you can see, there's a sort of extended gusset that is molded in to prevent the pin from gouging the pinholes. And then there is a clasp, which, as you can see, is a combination of polish and satin externally, and then it has a minderless system internally, so the excess length tucks underneath the clasp body, which removes the need for strap minders on the opposite side. You'll also note that it is a twin trigger release, so it can't pop open accidentally, and that is ideal on a sports watch, especially a large and heavy one. Familiar case, lyre style lugs. We've seen them on many Speedmasters and Seamasters since about 1964 when this case design started to develop. You have the bevels that turn in internally and the bevels that turn out externally with a satin finished case band and a polished accent line that runs from end to end. The crown is slightly recessed in the flank of the case as a shear guard, and then we have the Helium escape valve, which you won't need for surface sailing, but if you are diving, saturation style with exotic gas mixtures, and helium builds up in your watch during the dive, you open this little valve, and when internal pressure exceeds external pressure by 2 to 3 bar, the valve will internally open and release any helium so it doesn't blow out the seals and crystal of your watch. The bezel, let's hear it now, is precise, and it is 121 clicks. As you can see, it has a ceramic insert to resist scratches, and externally it's a combination of satin finish and polish. You'll also appreciate that this one has been customized for regatta activity. I've long said that I prefer a dive bezel to a chronograph, and after years of America's Cup timing chronographs that were at least at face value, optimized for regatta, Omega has pretty much agreed with me that it's easier to use a dive bezel to time, which is why this one has a 10-minute calibrated countdown with the 5th minute demarcated in white. So that's typically the countdown period to the start of a match, which is one race within a regatta, a contest of sailboats. Now, of course, you have a number of other elements in red, white, and blue on the dial, but the most important thing to note about the dial is it is made of white ceramic. So it has the glossy, gleaming, and effectively ageless qualities of enamel. It will never tarnish, it will never scratch, it will never oxidize, it will never suffer water damage, so it will always appeal like the look of gleaming wet paint. You feel as though you could stick your finger deep into that material. There are also applique indices in blue. You can see the hands at center are red, white, and blue, and there's a wonderfully whimsical counterweight to the second hand. That is the actual America's Cup. And then you can see that the 36th America's Cup is commemorated at the base of the dial. We have tri-Arabic numerals, which is germane to the Planet Ocean series, double broad arrow for the hour and minute hands, and of course a simple no-nonsense printed on white date without any kind of a frame or real aperture step, so it's kind of an understated date. Now, a few things to note here. We have a time zone function that allows you to adjust the local hour independently of everything else. You see the watch is still keeping time, seconds hand not stopping, minute hand not moving, and I can even jump the date forward or backwards if I'm traveling east or west. Now when you pull the crown out, now it's in stop seconds or hacking mode, and you could set the watch to a reference time. It is 600 meters water resistant, which I know is not quite 2,000 feet, but press the I believe button. And on the reverse side, there's another America's Cup dedication. Auckland 2021. Of course, New Zealand will be defending the cup after taking it in the 35th Cup, which in turn, was a sort of revenge for their defeat in the 34th Cup. Individually numbered, which is nice. Many limited editions just say 1 out of X. This gives you actual individual numbering. The movement itself is the caliber 8900, which you can be forgiven for not quite comprehending through this sort of gauze of blue. So, comprehend this. 60-hour power reserve, automatic winding, twin mainspring barrels, shock resistant thanks to a full balance bridge and a free sprung index, anti-magnetic thanks to a silicon hairspring, coaxial escapement tri-level, a system invented by George Daniels, industrialized by Omega in 1999, and perfected now with this tri-level gear. It is a master chronometer, tested as a fully cased-up watch in 6 positions to the COSC standards and then beyond, including anti-magnetic testing, power reserve testing, water resistance testing, and shock testing. It is a full evaluation of the assembled watch, and it is a standard determined by Omega and the Swiss Federal Institute of Metrology that is open to anyone, but so far only Omega has taken up the challenge. This movement beats away at 25,200 vibrations per hour, and of course it is a remarkably tough movement, not overly thin. The advantage of that is that it is shock resistant, anti-magnetic, very accurate, and of course technically adept with what may be the most sophisticated escapement you can buy in a watch under $50,000. Reach out to Tim Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details of this Planet Ocean America's Cup. And we're back with the Seamaster Planet Ocean America's Cup. As you can see, the minute hand and the bezel pearl are green. Everything else is blue to make it easy to recognize them relative to each other at a glance in the dark.